Hi, I'm Andrew Harris, the Principal at Minerds Consultancy Group. Welcome to our November update. Can't believe it's November already. The weather's warming up, the days are getting longer, and even my grass is growing rapidly these days. I have to cut it twice a month. But it's great to see that COVID restrictions are easing up, and that somewhat, especially here in Adelaide, we're sort of getting back to the old normal, which is great, and we're really looking forward and hope things continue to ease up heading into Christmas. The federal budget was handed down last month. There was significant announcements in that budget. Some of those will affect most Australians out there. So when you're catching up with your advisor, I guess we'll be looking at what's in the budget and whether it directly impacts you or not. But some of the things, obviously the government's going to spend a huge amount of money. You're going to end up in big deficits. So they're really spending money across a number of areas to keep the economy going. That being minimising some of the tax rates, so income taxes will get a bit of relief in there. There's business incentives to keep business afloat and employing people. Housing, get some grants there. Infrastructure, spending going into infrastructure. Helping out the people in the bush, young workers, women, health, pensioners. There's lots in the budget, so may have an impact, may not. This month I'd like to touch on something that we don't normally talk about a lot, and as you may be aware, part of our mission statement, that being your future is our business, the meaning behind that is that when we're catching up for a review, we're looking at the broader picture, and by knowing everything we can advise you correctly. So we're obviously looking at superannuation law, taxation law, Centrelink, investment market movements, the investments themselves. But one of the areas that we don't talk a lot about is insurances. And I thought I'd just share with you today some good news. I guess over the last 12 months, we have seen an increase in the number of insurance claims or lodgements. And I must say that part of the process is we'll generally do our best to try and help get the claims approved. And this month, I think we've had just over $2 million worth of claims for about 5 families. A couple of these claims have been going on for a while, and a couple of these claims, really the client wasn't aware that they actually had cover for the illness or the sickness that they've been suffering from. And it was only because of a conversation in our normal review that we were able to identify they are unwell and or had been unwell, and that knowing their policies that we have, we were able to get some claims. One in particular that comes to mind, just sharing, we were looking at a person's trauma contract the other day, and they were asking a little bit about what's covered in the contract. And they mentioned that they had a melanoma cut out of their leg 3 or 4 years ago. Wasn't significant, or off work for a couple of days, big laceration in the leg, a few stitches. But digging a little bit deeper with their contract, their trauma contract in particular, there was a partial payment due, and it was a nice little payout of about $87,000 for that illness, I guess. And the only reason that came about is we were just reviewing their policies and talking about what's in that. I've got a claim that I'm just working on now that the person had a bit of cancer, and it looks like we're going to be able to backdate the claim to a contract that's ceased more than 12 months ago. And be able to get an income payment there, maybe of about $40,000. So we don't talk a lot about insurance. Obviously, we do in our meetings, but I guess what I'm trying to say by this message is if you do have insurances and you do have a period of unwellness, it's pretty important that we do know about it, because we do understand the types of policies you do have and how those policies might respond if you were unwell. As the mission statement says, your future is our business. It's really getting a good understanding of your situation and knowing your full situation, we can advise appropriately, whether it's investments or insurances. So that's just a little bit of message about insurances. As I said, there's part of this article. There is information on the budget, so all of those budgetary things I mentioned, there's a little bit more detail on them. So have a good look at the content of the newsletter. Once again, thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate your support. And as we lead into the festive season, I hope everyone has a merry time. But we will be back to you before Christmas. Bye for now, Andrew.